I remember in my first ever fight back when I was 12, mini hybrid, got stuck on the ropes, and I was here and I basically just did nothing about it. I didn't really know what to do. I was just like, right, well, guess this is over for me. And the guy just started teeing off on me. And I think I got out of the way at some point. But anyway, in this video, I'm going to give you 6 different ways or 6 different things you can do to get yourself out of that situation, get off the ropes, get into a better position, and then how to take advantage of that position, or how to use the ropes to your advantage and land a counter punch. By the way, if you want to get better at boxing, make sure you join my free school community linked in the description for all my free boxing courses and free community with over 1,500 people in there. The first thing you can do is take advantage of actually being on the ropes. Now, if you're in this situation where you're backed up here, this provokes your opponent to attack, right? Because you can't go backwards. You don't really have much option to escape. You're up against the ropes. This is most likely when your opponent's going to attack. You can use that attack to your advantage by timing them as they come in and throw in a counter. Let's say they step in with a couple jabs. You could slip inside those jabs and throw a right hand, or the same going left, and catch them on the way in. If you catch them on the way in, they're not going to be so confident coming forward, and then you can push them back to the center of the ring. The center of the ring is ideally where you want to be. Unless you're like a back foot counter puncher type fighter, you kind of want to dictate the center. If you dictate the center, then you can control the fight. You can control when the attacks happen because you're more on the front foot, and you can pressure them round the ring into positions that you want them to be in. So the next 5 things I'm going to explain is how you can get off the ropes and then regain that center of the ring. The first one being clinching and turning your opponent. Actually, you kind of need Jordan for this. Jordan! I've actually got to give you a hug now.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So the next 5 things you can do involve regaining that center of the ring and not using the ropes to your advantage. You want to get off the ropes to regain that center and gain control of the fight. The first thing you can do is you can clinch and turn them. So there's 2 ways of doing this. He could either be attacking me and I'll wait for him to attack me and close the range himself, or I need to go out to him. So let's say you're attacking me first. I've got to smother your work like this. I've basically got to pin his arms so he can't really throw any punches. And then from this position, I need to use my core, my torso, to spin him round and get him on the ropes himself. And then when I'm back in the center of the ring, I need to use this position straight away and attack, because now I've got him in a vulnerable position. The other way we can do it is if I go out to him as I know he's about to launch an attack, I go out to him and like smother, turn, and the same thing applies. That's the first way that you can deal with being on the ropes. The next thing you can do is use your opponent's attack against them by breaking left or breaking right. For example, let's say they're coming on, they're throwing an attack, and they throw a straight right hand. I can step and slip outside of that punch, and then I can use this position to push off with my back foot and pivot round here. And then I'm off the ropes, I've taken an angle, and they're attacking that way. Now it's likely that I can come forward with my own punches. I can do the same going to the right. Let's say they're throwing a jab, if they're orthodox. I can slip and step at the same time, get out of the way of that jab, and then I can pivot, and then the same thing applies. I can come forward with my punches. So there's the next thing you can do. Now let's imagine I'm being pressured. I'm dancing around the edge of the ropes by a pressure fighter. They're pushing me back and I've got to move around. As I'm moving to my left, he's going to try to catch me with an overhand right. And as I'm moving to my right, he's going to try to catch me with a left hook. Whether that's body or head, doesn't matter. So a great way we can stop them from landing these punches is by using foot feints. Now I could feint to my left and go right by pushing off there. Or I could feint to my right and go left, like that, and he wouldn't be able to throw the opposing punch. I can also do this by just stamping my lead foot. And I've taught foot feints on the channel before. You just do that and then you come forward, so they're expecting a shot. But you can do that by feinting to either side. So I could feint there, or I could feint there, and this will manipulate the idea they have of where I'm going. If I feint to my left there, I step off to my right, or if I've feint to my right there, I can step off to my left. When you're trying to get out of this sticky situation when you're on the ropes, it's always a great idea to roll or move your head as they throw the punches. So if I'm going to my right, I can roll under his shots that way. Or if I'm going to my left, I can roll under the shots that way. That's just an extra way of defending, making sure we keep our hands up in case they catch us. The next thing we can do when we're on the ropes is we can fight our way out. The last thing Jordan's probably expecting, if he's a pressure fighter, is for me to just come forward with an attack, because obviously I'm being very negative and I'm moving around the outside of the ring a lot of the time on the back foot if I'm caught on the ropes a lot. So the last thing he's expecting is for me to come forward.
Oh, I actually wasn't.
Oh yeah, you weren't expecting that.
And you told me.
Well, there you go. So even if you tell them mid-fight, look, I'm going to come forward, they probably won't be expecting it. So there's another option. You can always just go straight forward and attack. The last thing you need to know is that you just don't get onto the ropes in the first place, right? Sounds pretty obvious, but something key that I learned with this is just being able to hold your ground a bit more. So if I'm sparring, fighting, whatever, when they come forward with punches, as soon as they come forward, I just want to start throwing punches. I don't need to move my feet back. And if I am going to move my feet back, I'll just do like a small drop step, or I'll just step back and I'll come straight back in, instead of like stepping back and just getting pushed onto the ropes again or pushed into the corners. So don't be afraid to just hold your ground. If you're holding your ground, that means you need to be nice and tucked up as they come forward and throw shots as they throw theirs. If this video helped you learn anything new, then make sure you leave a like. Thanks for watching.